Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. Manchester United and Mason Greenwood have mutually agreed that he will leave the club. This following months of an internal investigation by Manchester United into Greenwood's conduct after he was arrested in January 2022 on suspicion of rape and assault. The 21-year-old, who was scheduled to stand trial in November this year, was cleared of all charges in February. Earlier today, Man United issued a statement. Let's take a look now at some of the excerpts from that statement. Manchester United has concluded its internal investigation into the allegations made against Mason Greenwood. Our process commenced on February 2023, following all charges against Mason being dropped. Throughout, we have taken into account the wishes, rights and perspective of the alleged victim, along with the club's standards and values, and sought to collate as much information and context as possible. Based on the evidence available to us, we have concluded that the material posted online did not provide a full picture and that Mason did not commit the offences in respect of which he was originally charged. That said, as Mason publicly acknowledges today, he has made mistakes which he is taking responsibility for. All those involved, including Mason, recognize the difficulties with him recommencing his career at Manchester United. It has therefore been mutually agreed that it would be most appropriate for him to do so away from Old Trafford, and we will now work with Mason to achieve that outcome. So Greenwood, he also released a statement of his own. Portions of that statement reads, "I want to start by saying I understand that people will judge me because of what they have seen and heard on social media, and I know people will think the worst. I was brought up to know that violence or abuse in any relationship is wrong. I did not do the things I was accused of, and in February I was cleared of all charges. However, I fully accept I made mistakes in my relationship, and I take my share of responsibility for the situations which led to the social media post. Today's decision has been part of a collaborative process between Manchester United, my family and me. The best decision for us all is for me to continue my football career away from Old Trafford, where my presence will not be a distraction to the club." Well, coach and analyst Ben Davies now joins us to add his perspective to these latest developments as well as the latest results from the EPL. Good afternoon, Ben. How are you?
I'm very well, Mariah. How are you?
I'm doing okay. The only disappointment is Mason Greenwood no longer will be suiting up for Manchester United, and I sit on the set with two Manchester United supporters.
Yeah, it's a sad situation, isn't it, for everybody? The victim, obviously, and the family, and Mason Greenwood and the family, and also Manchester United. And looking at the situation that was arising beforehand, they were trying to reintegrate him back into the club. And obviously the players had agreed, the coach had agreed, but maybe those plans had got out, sooner than they were divulged. And obviously they got a lot of resistance and a lot of anger from the worldwide Manchester United support in public.
Yeah.
So they've had to obviously change their stance on that.
So Ben, do you feel as if Manchester United was willing to take back Mason Greenwood, give him the opportunity? Because we have to consider the factor, he's been with the team. He's also very, very young. And, you always are concerned about talented footballers and their future. Do you feel as if they didn't get the backlash from the Manchester United supporters and maybe those at the helm, the situation would have been very different?
I think so, Mariah. I think obviously Manchester United have had to look at the stance of their morality, with the club, and being a worldwide organisation as Manchester United are, that had to play into it as well. And obviously if they haven't got resistance, I think they would have tried to put him back into the squad. But it's a difficult situation, really, because I know that he would have been criticised if that would have happened, and he'll be criticised wherever he goes in the world, I'm sure. Yeah. I think time will heal, and it's obviously a blow to Manchester United. As you said, he's been there since he was 7, so the club also had to look at the duty of care for him as an employee, but they also had to look at the duty of care for the victim. So it's just a difficult situation.
Yeah, blow to the club and also to Mason Greenwood, because, of course, questions now revolve around what happens to such a young player and his talents.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a fantastic amount of talent, and if you remember when he was playing a couple of years ago under Solskjaer, Solskjaer admitted, and a lot of people admitted, that he was the best striker in the club. And that was, above Cavani, above Anthony Martial, and of course there was Ronaldo also coming back. So it is a blow. It is a big blow, and also to England as well. If you remember, he had some history with Phil Foden, when they were out with England playing Iceland, and they had to have their hands slapped because they broke the COVID bubble there. So it's and as a Manchester United fan myself, it's a shame, because I've been watching him since he was about 16, 17, and he is a tremendous talent. But obviously, things affect you. You get involved in things, and you have to suffer the consequences sometimes,
Yeah, Ben, both Manchester United and Mason Greenwood have said that he did not do the things he was originally accused of. And it seems to me that from the Manchester United statement, this decision is being made to protect Manchester United more than anything else. Saying things like Mason Greenwood, or suggesting that Mason Greenwood would be a distraction if he were made to stay at Manchester United. And where does that leave Mason Greenwood? Because where in the world is this young man going to go where he is not going to be perceived as a distraction?
Yes, Ricardo. It's strange, isn't it? Because, I mean, he has admitted, though, that he made mistakes, and he shared responsibility for the things that were put on social media. So what can we, divulge from that statement that he made? And obviously, the situation is where he has to leave Manchester United, and where is he going to rebuild his career? Because he will get criticised wherever he goes. And you would think, I mean, from a spiritual point of view, God says, forgiveness 7 times 77. So, when is that time going to come? Because, he has been out of football for 18 months. United haven't allowed him even to train, at Carrington for the last 18 months. So it is a very difficult situation, very difficult. So I don't know.
Well, you said it. I was going to ask you a follow-up, but I think your final words say, Ben, I don't know. And I don't know if anyone knows either. But there is an aspect of this that personally I don't like. I understand the need to stamp certain things and certain behavior out of society. But I also get the feeling sometimes that there has become this zero tolerance policy that says people can't get better, that people should not be given second chances. And there's an aspect of this Mason Greenwood situation that I'm picking up exactly that, where there is a strong suggestion that Mason Greenwood does not deserve a second chance. Because in my opinion, if we agree that Mason Greenwood deserves a second chance, and we don't have to agree that he does, but if we do agree that he deserves a second chance, then I would be asking the question, is this the way to treat someone who deserves a second chance?
You're correct, and I agree with you, Ricardo. I believe he should be given a second chance. as I said, from the spiritual side of it, which I am very deeply in, when is it going to be when he is given a second chance? I mean, maybe, that Manchester United obviously are looking at the financial side of it, and they're thinking, oh, we're going to lose so much revenue, if we keep him, or whatever. But for me, I don't see why they couldn't have sent him away on loan long before this situation occurred, and maybe brought him back, after a loan period of a year or something like that. I mean, there are certain ways out of it, but he should definitely be given another chance, for sure. And once he showed the behaviour that he has done so far, I mean, I think him and his partner have had a baby since this situation occurred.
Yeah.
And he's actually shown, that he is a father and he is a good partner since the situation. So where do we draw the line about giving time and second chances? Where do we draw the line?
Right. And Ben, we're going to move away now from this headline and just turn to a lighter note. We had EPL action on the weekend. Let's talk about the latest result. Arsenal scraping that 1-0 win against Crystal Palace earlier today. Arsenal, not the firing Arsenal that we saw from last season. For me, the couple of matches we saw from them, it's as if, they're barely getting the result.
Yes, and today they had 2 chances in the first half. Eddie Nketiah, was playing up front instead of Gabriel Jesus, who's injured, as you know, and he spurned both of them, and then they managed to get a penalty. Eddie Nketiah again was through, and the goalkeeper, Sam Johnson, ex-Manchester United, pulled him down. And Arsenal basically struggled to break down that packed defence from Crystal Palace.
Yes.
And they had Tomiyasu sent off in the second half, so basically they had to just hold back a bit, and it was Crystal Palace who went on the front foot and had few chances to score. So it is, still trepid times for Arsenal, and other teams, obviously, in the first few matches. And, of course, they're not up to speed yet. But Declan Rice, I have to say, Declan Rice controlled that game for Arsenal, for a good amount of the game, and played very well.
Yeah, but Arsenal fans will say, Mariah, be quiet. A win is a win. We still walk away with 3 points. But what about Manchester United? What happened to them on the weekend away to Tottenham?
Well, I have to put it down, Mariah, as the midfield just isn't right. The balance isn't right. And, of course, when you have Rashford playing down the middle, and you can see from his body language that he's not comfortable. He prefers to be coming, from the left-hand side. But the midfield balance, I mean, we know Casemiro is a great player, but at the moment he's just being overrun because Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes are basically 2 number 10s. So we haven't got that player there just to sit sometimes with Casemiro. I mean, last season, Eriksen played with Casemiro more, and because he is getting on in years, he recognises a situation where he can't go forward, and he'll stay there with Casemiro, But going back to the game itself, United basically dominated that first half. Bruno Fernandes missed a sitter of a header. Rashford had a chance to score as well. And then there was the penalty decision, which, for me, it was a difficult decision to give a penalty. I know a lot of United fans thought it was a stone-cold penalty, but for me, I thought it was touch and go.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see those given, but not, all the time, because Romero had lunged forward to try and block the ball, but as he's leaning back, his hand obviously went up in a natural position, and the ball hit his hand. So, but in the second half, United were just dead.
Yeah.
They had no fitness, no legs at all, and they didn't seem sharp during the whole of the game. And the same thing last weekend when Wolves played them. They were so dull, and not sharp, as if they hadn't been done a pre-season. So, I think Ten Hag will get it right, sooner or later.
Right. Well, we're hoping he does that. Ben, if it's up to me, we can talk EPL action all day, but my producer says we got to go, so he's in charge. We got to go. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll chat again very, very soon.
We will. We didn't talk about Man City, did we?
No, but
your favourite
next
team.
show, exactly, and we won. But next show for sure, okay?
Okay,
They didn't
right.
give me
Thanks very
time.
much, Ricardo. Lance,
Yeah.
speak to you soon.
You're welcome. Well, viewers, you saw they didn't give me enough time to talk about my team winning because their team lost. Let's go to break.